So good morning. I'll be discussing the part 4, the process, which is continuous improvement in the total quality management. So ano nga ba ang continuous improvement? So continuous improvement is a gradual, never-ending change which is focused on increasing the effectiveness and or efficiency of an organization to fulfill its policy and objectives. Another definition is an ongoing effort to improve products, services, or processes. These efforts can seek incremental improvement over time or breakthrough improvement all at once. So, put simply, it means getting better all the time. So, a systematic approach is the never-ending quest for improvement in the ways processes are operated. Numbers and information should always form the basis for understanding decisions and actions, and a thorough data gathering, recording, and presentation system is essential. So, yung system approach sa continuous improvement is through data gathering, recording, and presentation of system. So, ano nga ba yung mga basic elements of a quality management system that provides a framework for recording? So, andito yung recording the data, using the data, analyzing the data, and the action on the results. So, in recording the data, all processes can and should be measured. All measurements should be recorded. So, then next is using the data. So, if the data is recorded, the data will be used, but it will not be abused. Okay, so analyzing the data. So, for analyzing the data, analysis should be carried out by the means of some basic systematic tools. So, later on, we will discuss that in the other part of this presentation. So, next is action on the results. So, after recording and analyzing the data without action, it can lead to frustration. So, act on the result should be done. So here are some 7 basic tools that can help improving a certain system. So in addition to the basic elements of a quality management system, which is I discussed earlier, that provide a framework for recording, there is a set of methods that a Japanese quality guru, which named Ishikawa, is called the 7 basic tools. So the 7 basic tools are check sheet, histogram, Pareto chart, control chart, scatter diagram, stratification, and cause and effect diagram. So ito yung mga isa sa mga 7 basic tools na tinawag ni Ishikawa. So, the effective use of the tools requires their application by the people who actually work on the process. The commitment to this will be possible only if they are assured that management cares about improving quality. Managers must show that they are serious by establishing a systematic approach and providing the training and implementation support required. So, improvements cannot be acquired by just without specific opportunities, commonly called the problems. So, being identified or recognized. So, a focus on improvement opportunity leads to the creation of teams whose membership is determined by their work on and detailed knowledge of the process. So, hindi mo pwedeng bastang mag-i-improve ka lang. So, kailangan alam mo din kung ano yung certain problems sa isang system bago mo to ma-approach or masolusyonan ng tama. So here's some examples of the some of the 7 basic tools that Ishikawa has called. So dito meron tayong mga diagram. Okay. So ito, isa na to is I think the scatter diagram. So dito naman sa isa, ito makikita natin dito is the continuous improvement cycle. So ito para lang din to yung basic tools kung paano mo ma-improve yung isang system. So first, you have to identify. So identify the opportunities in the process workflow. So next, pagpaplano, plan. So ang tanong dyan, how can the current process be improved? The next is execute. So gawin mo na yung pinlano mo. Implement. And then last one is review. So reviewin mo kung ano yung changes na nangyari sa working team mo. And then again, so continue improving. So ikot na naman tayo sa cycle na to. So here is some basic tools and techniques for continuous improvement. So understanding processes so that they can be improved by means of the systematic approach requires knowledge of a simple kit of tools or techniques. So these are some basic tools and techniques. So first one, you have process flow charting. So process flow charting, so the use of this technique ensures a full understanding of the inputs, outputs, and flow of the process. Without that understanding, it is not possible to draw the correct flow chart of the process in flow charting. So kailangan alam mo lahat ng input at outputs and yung mga results, yung action ng mga gagawin mo. Then you have the check sheets or tally charts. So dito sa check sheets, ito yung tool for data gathering. Then it's a logical point to start in most process control or problem solving efforts. So dito makita mo yung mga data ng medyo mas madali kapag siya ay medyo maraming option. Okay. So next we have the histograms. So histograms show in a very clear pictorial way the frequency with which a certain value or group of value occurs. So dito mas madali mo makita yung mga values. Mas madali mong compare kung ano yung tumaas or bumaba. Then now we have a scatter diagram. So dito sa scatter diagram, so pag may dalawang variable, okay, so para mas mapadali yung makita yung problema or yung statistics, so dito paghihiwalayin mo yung katulad dito, we have positive correlation and then negative correlation para mas madali mong ma-plot yung action. Then stratification. Stratification is simply dividing a set of data into meaningful groups. So stratification is almost the same as scatter diagram. We have the Pareto analysis. Pareto analysis is a statistical technique in decision making used for the selection of a limited number of tasks that produce significant overall effect. It uses the Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. The idea that by doing 20% of the work, you can generate 80% of the benefit of doing the entire job. So yun. So sinabi nga dito that doing the 20%, that magpo-profit naman yun or magkaka-benefit ng 80% of the job. So dito naman, next is the cause and effect analysis and brainstorming. So dito, marami nakakaalam nito, cause and effect. So it is a useful way of mapping the inputs that affect quality is the cause and effect diagram. So also known as the Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone diagram. So as we can see, para siyang fishbone. The effect or incident being investigated shown at the end of a horizontal arrow. So dito sa mga parang tinik na to, sa mga fish bones, makita natin dito yung mga cause na ating i-imply sa problema, and then sa dulo is we have the effect. So the CDAC or CEDAC is an acronym for cause and effect diagram. So ito yun, with the addition of cards. So this is developed by Dr. Ryoji Fukuda. The process allows team members to build another person's idea from a brainstorming session while using the format of the traditional fishbone diagram. So ito, parang fishbone diagram lang din. Ang kinaibahan lang is they're using cards. And then, they're using the other person's suggestions. Next is nominal group technique or the NGT. So it is defined as the structured method for group brainstorming that encourages contributions from everyone and facilitates quick agreement on the relative importance of issues, problems, or solutions. Next, we have force field analysis. Force field analysis is a technique used to identify the forces that either obstruct or help a change that needs to be made. Okay. It is similar to negative brainstorming and cause or effect analysis and helps to plan how to overcome the barriers to change or improvement. Next, we have the emphasis curve. This is a technique for ranking a number of factors each of which cannot be readily quantified in terms of cost, frequency, or occurrence in prior to other. It is almost impossible for the human brain to make a judgment of the relative importance of more than 3 or 4 non-quantifiable factors. It is, however, relatively easy to judge which is the most important of 2 factors using some predetermined criteria. Next is we have control charts. So the control chart is a graph used to study how a process changes over time. Data are plotted in time order. Control chart always has a central line for the average, an upper line for the upper control limit, and a lower line for the lower control limit. So as we can see, it uses a time order in order to determine the values. Then we have a straight line in the middle which determines the average consume or the average quantity. Then we have the upper line or the limit, which is the highest limit, and then we have the lower limit, which is the lowest. Statistical process control or the SPC. SPC is a method of quality control which employs statistical methods to monitor and control a process. So this helps to ensure that the process operates efficiently. Okay. So next, we have some additional techniques for process design and improvement. So we have 7 new qualitative tools that may be used as a part of quality function deployment or to improve processes. So the 7 new tools are affinity diagram, interrelationship diagram, tree diagram, matrix diagram, matrix data analysis, process decision program chart or PDPC, and the arrow diagram. So what is affinity diagram? So this is used to gather large amounts of language data or simply ideas, issues, or opinions and organizes them into groupings based on the natural relationship between the items. So in other words, it is a form of brainstorming. So ito lang is ginagawa niya is grouping the opinions, then organizes them. So mas madaling makukuha yung natural relationship between the items. So interrelationship diagram, so almost the same as the affinity diagram. So it is designed to take a central idea, issue, or problem and map out the logical or sequential links among the related factors. Okay, so dito ginagawa is kinukuha yung pinaka-central na idea nung pinaka-system, then i-map out lang siya sa iba pang pwedeng maging effects. So we have number 3, systems flow or tree diagram. So the system flow or tree diagram is used to systematically map out the full range of activities that must be accomplished in order to reach a desired goal. So parang interrelationship diagram, minamap out lang niya yung mga possible effects na pwedeng pang ma-improve sa isang problem. Then matrix diagram. So the purpose of the matrix diagram is to outline the interrelationships and correlations between tasks, function, or characteristics and to show the relative importance. Number 5, matrix data analysis or matrix data is used to take data displayed in a matrix diagram and arrange it so that it can be more easily viewed and show the strength of the relationship between the variables. Then last, or number 6, is the process decision program chart. It is defined as a new management planning tool that systematically identifies which might go wrong in a plan under development. Countermeasures are developed to to prevent or offset those problems by using PDPC, you can either revise the plan to avoid the problems or be ready with the best response when the problem occurs. So, in the PDPC chart, ginagawa na siya ng solution sa pinaka-chart para mas madaling masolusyonan of when certain problems occur. So lastly, we have the arrow diagram. So an arrow diagram is defined as a process diagramming tool used to determine optimal sequence of events and their interconnectivity. It is used for scheduling and to determine the critical path through nodes. So as we can see, connected itong buong diagram na to. So if one problem occurs, makita nyo kung saan siya magli-lead or magkakause yung pinaka-problem. So these tools do not replace statistical methods or other techniques, but they are meant to be used together as part of continuous process improvement. These tools work best when representatives from all parts of an organization take parts in their use and execution of the results. Besides the structure that the tools provide, the cooperation between functions or the departments that is required will help break down barriers within the organizations. So simply saying, itong mga tools na to, hindi to gagana kung hindi magtutulong-tulungan yung lahat ng workers sa isang organization para ma-execute yung problem. Okay, so these tools, yung 7 tools na to, it is best used sa other basic tools pa para mas ma-imply pa natin yung improvement sa isang system. So we have next is Taguchi methods for process improvement. So si Genichi Taguchi was a Japanese engineering specialist who advanced quality engineering as a technology to reduce cost and improve quality simultaneously. So we have the total loss function, design of products, services, and processes. Number 3, reduction of variation, statistically planned experiments. So itong improvement ni Taguchi is hindi lang na-improve yung isang system, but nare-reduce pa yung cost ng improvement. So efficiently but less cost. So next we have the Six Sigma. So Six Sigma is a set of techniques and tools for process improvement. It was introduced by American engineer Bill Smith while working at Motorola in 1896. Okay, a sigma is one in which 99.99% of all opportunities to produce some feature of a part are statistically expected to be free of defects. So, ganun ka-accurate yung Six Sigma. 99.99% of all opportunities. So, we have the Six Sigma improvement model. So, first, we have the define, and then measure, analyze, improve, and then control. Then, so on. So, this form an improvement cycle grounded in Deming's original plan, do, check, and act, PDCA. So, the DMAIC steps. So, first, we have the D, define. Define the scope and goals of the improvement project in terms of customer requirements and the process that delivers these requirements. You have these inputs, outputs, control, and resources. So, first, para ma-identify mo yung problem, define mo muna yung scopes and goals of the improvement project. So, in terms of customer, so, sino ba yung magko-consume nung product natin? Siyempre, di ba yung customer? So, identify muna natin yung customer requirements o yung mga gusto nilang mangyari sa product. Next is we have the M for measure. So, measure the current process performance, or the input, output, and process, and then calculate the short and longer term process capability, or the sigma value. Then A, we have the analyze the gap between the current and desired performance. So prioritize the problems and identify the root causes of the problems. So for analyzing the problems, so we can identify yung pinaka-root ng problems. So, mas madali nating masusolusyonan yung mga certain problems. Then, we can try benchmarking the process outputs, the products or services against recognized benchmark standards or performance may also be carried out. So, I is for improvement. So, generating the improvement solutions to fix the problem and prevent them from reoccurring so that the required financial and other performance goals are met. So, C, we have this. This phase involves implementing and improve process in a way that holds the gains. Standards of operation will be documented in systems such as ISO 9000 and standards of performance will be established using techniques such as statistical process control or the SPC. So lastly, we have the drive framework for continuous improvement. So ito parang same lang din siya ng DMA-IC. Mas refined lang and mas maikli. So D is for define the problem. R for review the information, the output or presentation of known data and action plan for further data. I is for investigation of the problem. So documented proposals for improvement and action plans. Then V is for verifying the solution or giving a solution. So propose improvements that meet success criteria. And E is for execute. For executing the change or for implementing the verified solution for the process documented. So that is all. Thank you for listening and being my friend.